In this video, I'm going to teach you how to move from self-doubt into determination. Hi, my name is Guru Pashupati. I'm the lineage authority of a very ancient school of yoga called Triloka Khada, which was established by Shankarnath, the founder of yoga. And in this school, I teach something called Siddha Yoga. Siddha Yoga is the yoga of accomplishment, and it's the only yoga that is totally relevant to everyone's life who doesn't want to leave society and live like a yogi. And I'm going to teach you something from the Upanishads today. The Mandukya Upanishad says that there are three parts of the mind represented by the three letters of Om. A, U, and M are the three letters that come together to form Om. And this represents our entire mind. So the A part is called Vaishvanara, or worldly waters. And that means the world that is reported to you by your senses. Your senses are all pointed outwards, and you keep receiving the nature of the world around you, and you can make like a good picture of the world, what the world around you is like, by the information brought in and the data brought in by the senses. Now, the second part of the mind is called Taijasa, and Taijasa is illumination. So when that stuff comes, the Taijasa is supposed to illuminate it and then understand it and work with it. And therefore, the inner mind, which is called Taijasa, always coordinates with the mind that is responsible for gathering data from the senses. And when this happens, we get what is called determination, pragya. So why is pragya determination? It is actually pre-knowledge. If you look at the actual meaning of pragya, it means pre-knowledge. And what do we have pre-knowledge? We are determined to learn. So that is why pragya can be translated as determination. Determination is always to learn. Somebody who is determined is not determined to do without learning, because it's only through learning more things that they can do stuff. Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to move to pragya, how to move to determination, and why you have self-doubt. Okay, so let's answer the second question first. Why do you have self-doubt? So when we are young, at some point we ignore the senses and make decisions overriding the data from the senses. Something will tell us about a person that this person is not trustworthy, and yet we go ahead and trust them, and then something bad happens. And so even though you got all the senses, you didn't use Taijasa in conjunction with the senses, because Taijasa can make up a world that has nothing to do with reality. And when you get into this world of imagination, you can believe that somebody who isn't good for you is good for you, for example, or a job that isn't good for you is good for you, or this is how we get children to go to school, because all their senses are telling them it's not good for them, but then they go anyway. And then when you do this over a period of maybe 10, 15 years, you've already split yourself into two parts. One part that's always angry with you. Your senses take on the role now of conscience, telling you what to do right, what not to do right, and it's very forceful about it. So this one is a very big self-critic that starts to grow inside, because you're not working with the senses. It's just angry at you. Okay? So what to do about this? How do we fix this? Because it comes in the way of you making decisions and of you trusting yourself, and over the long term, people can't trust you, and that is the saddest and worst thing that can happen to you. Okay, so this leads to abandonment, it leads to loneliness, it leads to fear of all of these things, and people are just living lives that they don't want to live in, simply because the communication or the relationship between Vaishvanara, which is the senses, and uh, the Taijasa, which is the imagination, has been cut. And the imagination is now doing the job of the senses. So it's making up stuff. That's what we call ego in yoga. Okay, and people will give you feedback that you have too much ego. You don't care. You're far removed from reality, and you're a dreamer, and you're good for nothing. And in severe cases, it leads to depersonalization, derealization, and things like that. And in very severe cases, it becomes schizophrenia. And this can easily happen to anybody who hasn't integrated these two parts. So I'm going to teach you now how to integrate these two parts, okay? So now I'm going to go over the steps which will help you to get from this split that you have between you and your senses and make it one, okay? So you imagine your senses sitting in front of you. The first thing you have to admit is when this started. When did you start doubting yourself? And you'll realize that you had suppressed your senses then, and you should admit to yourself that that was not the right thing to do. Even though you didn't know better at that time, it's still wrong. You don't suppress your senses because you lose the only partner that you have who can give you data about the world. Okay, it's the wrong thing. So when you understand it's a wrong thing, identify all the damage that it's caused. Okay, think about all the things that this has done to you, that has created, you know, damage in your life. What are the things that have gone wrong? And then express how these things have made your life worse by thinking of what it could have been if you didn't do this. And that'll get you more and more into a state. This is all a setup and a step up for stage 4, where you actually come to a determination of some kind, where you sincerely want to find resolution and find a permanent fix inside. Okay, so to come to that resolution, you have to go through these steps. So I know it sounds painful. It can be very painful to admit that this thing that I did, disconnecting from my senses, has been very costly, because if I didn't do it, I would have been somewhere else. Now let that sit with you. Sit and meditate about it. And then, you know, exactly how has this made my life worse? Think about it for a while. As you're thinking about it, express sincerity to yourself. You say, I'm done with this thing. I know that I did wrong. I'm never going to do this again. I don't want to be second guessing myself. I don't want to have imposter syndrome. I don't want to fear abandonment. I don't want to be somebody who can't make decisions. I hate it. I don't want to be that person. I just don't want to be it. Feel it in you. You'll feel it. You'll feel it in your stomach. Okay? You'll feel it in your toes. You'll feel goosebumps coming on you. That's when you talk to you get ready to say and ask for the help. Okay, so the next step is to ask for help. Ask for help from your senses and say, can we work together again? And can we gather enough data and resolve this forever, and so that I'm never in doubt again? Okay? And then you enter solution mode or data gathering mode, which is the final mode. In this mode, you cooperate with your senses, start gathering data. Okay, so there'll be something that you haven't made a decision about, that you're doubting yourself. Should I take this job or that job? Should I stay married or separate? Should I take 5 classes a week or 3 classes a week? And there's many other things that, you know, people get stuck about, and they can't take their own decisions. They're like, well, I don't know, I'm not sure, should I do this? And you keep asking others for advice. So ask yourself. Say, senses, you're gathering data, and then suddenly you'll see that resolutions are coming, and you're getting determined about one path of action instead of 2. You're able to clearly make a choice, because now you've opened the gates for the information to come to you. And that's how you come to pragya, or absolute determination. I hope you liked this video. If you liked it, do let me know. If you want coaching in this kind of stuff, I have a Diksha, which is the entry level into Siddha Yoga, where I teach you to do this thing first. Once you do this thing, you have a single focused mind. So imagine if I coached you personally and overcame your personal obstacles to getting this done. The same method can be used to resolve conflicts with anybody and rejection from anybody. Okay, so you learn all these magic powers when you come to the Bhavna Diksha. If you're interested, do let me know, and you can find the details on my Instagram profile, Guru Pashupati.